Hi, Michael here. Welcome to this week's Cuppa Talks. I'd like to talk about something I've been discussing with some friends of mine, and that's market saturation. Now, if you're on Facebook and you belong to any of the many sound worker groups on there, I'm sure you see this every day where somebody new posts, "Hey, I bought my set of alchemy crystal bowls and I got a rain stick and I want to do some sessions. How do I do that? How do I book them? How do I start?" As a moderator in some groups, I see those types of posts every day. And as I said, I've been talking to friends of mine who've been doing this for a long time, and they're talking about market saturation. That yeah, everybody's a sound worker today. They're all over the place, and how it's making things more difficult, especially to book sessions and that. So first, I'd like to talk about that aspect of things, and then talk about what we can do about it. Yeah, I've seen this happen in various ways. Again, lots of new people out there doing it. I've had some people take gigs away from me, newer people. In some of those cases, it's yoga studios where I come in and I've been doing sessions a while, and then one of the yoga teachers decides to get a gong or some bowls, and then it's like, "Oh, I can do the sound sessions." So they don't have to have me back, and they have it all in-house. I mean, that happens. In some cases, it's people that I have trained because I do teach. I have trained these people, and the same thing happens. Then they do the stuff at the yoga studio they're affiliated with, and I'm out. So I've seen that type of thing happen. And another one is just, you know, I don't know, maybe people are charging less, undercutting, that's possible. People doing it for free, hey, that's possible. But there is this influx of new people all doing sound work. And I think that's great overall, for everything. It's great that so many people are interested in this field, in this modality. We need more of that. And I would rather people be interested in sound work and doing it than doing something negative. Because generally sound work is a positive endeavor. So it's good. And I welcome them. Uh, why not? You know, it's great. But some markets, as I noticed in my area, some markets are getting extremely crowded with so many people doing it. And I look at it similar to how yoga studios were, especially right before the whole COVID lockdown thing. Suddenly, there were like 8 million yoga teachers and 3 million yoga studios, and they're all competing with each other. And I would play sessions at a yoga studio, even in a real small rural town, and there'd be like 5 yoga studios. And I'm like, how can they support 5 yoga studios in this little town? You know, So we've seen that. COVID happened, and so many yoga studios just could not exist, so they disappeared. And we're starting to see that coming back to a certain extent where there's a lot of yoga studios. Got a bug here on my hand, little guy. We'll let him hang out. There he goes. So are previous examples of this sort of thing, yoga, or even just yoga teachers. I mean, wow, there used to be, again, pre-COVID, there was like so many yoga teachers, and there weren't enough studios to allow every yoga teacher to really make a living. Oh, yeah, you could teach one class this week because we got 6 other teachers, you know? So I've seen this before. I've seen it happen, and one of the big things is I think you have to look at your level of commitment, and this is not a judging thing, but everybody has a different level of commitment. One level, we have the casual person who plays for themselves, plays for family and friends, and that's mainly what they do. And there's nothing wrong with that. And maybe they do an occasional outside gig, but usually it's like have people come to their house and they do stuff, or maybe they go to somebody else's house and do stuff casual, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing. It's not any different than having a guitar or a piano at your house, and getting together and having friends come over and you play some songs for them. It's cool. Kind of a second level would be people who play out once in a while, maybe twice a week, something like that. They have another job doing something, office factory, they're a nurse, a doctor, they're a lawyer, drive Uber or whatever. They have a main job and sound work is their side gig, partly because it's fun and it connects with people. They can make some money, and maybe they really have a belief in sound work and what it does. So it not only enriches the lives of the people they are playing for, but it also enriches their own lives by doing it for others. Then we have a third one, and I mean, there's levels in between, but I'm not gonna go through, like, 20 levels. And then we have, like, a third one, which is the person who's all in. This is what they do, sort of like me. I mean, this is basically what I do. So I think a first thing is to assess your level of commitment. Casual, sort of, we would maybe call part-time, and career-oriented, full-time. I think it's important to look at that, and you could be somewhere in between those. So if you're a casual person, the saturation probably doesn't affect you at all because you're not really playing out, you're not trying to make a living or anything like that. Let's say you're the sort of part-timer or weekend warrior, as we say in the music business, and you're doing that, or you are aspiring to be a full-time sort of career sound worker. Okay, how do you survive this saturation here? There's a few criteria that I think, and these things come together, but these are different aspects of what you need to do. The first one, work on your craft. I say that in just about every video I make, or at least allude to it, but it's work on your craft. Know what you are doing. Practice, work on your sounds, work on your flow, work on how you put things together. You just can't have all your instruments in the corner of your office all packed up and then, "Oh, I'm playing tomorrow," and then tomorrow comes and you load them up and you go and you do a session. You can't expect to do great things. It's just like being an athlete, and it's like you don't practice all week, and then Saturday's the game, and you go do the game, and how can you expect to perform at your best level? Because you can't. Athletes train all the time. They train every day. They train separately, they train together, they work as a team, they go to separately to the gym, they're working on, all the apparatus, they're watching videos of past performances, watching videos of their opponents. They're constantly working on their craft. You need to do that too. And then it ties into number 2, the best advice I've probably ever gotten in my life. I know I've mentioned this before, but make sure your talent is undeniable. Let me repeat that for you. Make sure your talent is undeniable. I think that's really important. If you see the people who make it in any sort of industry, not just music and arts, but in anything, how did they make it? They made sure that what they did and what they knew was undeniable. I think of a lot of these entrepreneurs nowadays because that's just such a big thing. But look at people who've built up companies, had an idea for something. Yeah, I mean, we can fall back on some of the classic examples like Steve Jobs with Apple. I mean, he was with Apple, he got fired by Apple, he started another company that didn't quite work out, he went back to Apple, and he rescued Apple from oblivion, and look at Apple today. If I could have bought Apple stock, like, 30, 25, 30 years ago, I'd be able to retire, you know, to some really fancy place. But look at people who believe in themselves. One thing you could do is read biographies of artists and whoever, sports figures, whoever you admire. Read their biographies. Learn about how they made sure that their talent was undeniable and how they kept going. And a big thing is if you have these 2 things, if you work at your craft and you make sure your talent is undeniable, they come together to form a whole. And this makes you stand apart from everybody else. Stand apart from all the wannabe sound workers who are just out there and don't work at their craft, and their talent is deniable. It makes you stand out above them. And also, look at where you are. Like we was talking about what level you're at, but what's your commitment level? Are you in this for the long haul? I know I am. I've been a musician since I was 15. I've done music sort of things, my whole life. I've been doing this sound worker sort of thing for going on 26 years now. Kind of like turn of the century, 2000, decided to stop playing in bands and I wanted to do this sort of thing. And that's what I've been doing basically. So look at your level of commitment and realize that if you are in it for the long haul, you're going to last. Because a lot of these people who are buying their crystal alchemy bowls and their crystal pyramid and their rain stick and their buffalo drum today, a year from now, that stuff is going to be on eBay or Facebook Marketplace because they don't have the commitment. They realize it's a lot of work. Or if they're playing sessions out, they're going to realize it's a lot of work to pack up your gear, load it in your car, drive it, unload it, unpack it, set it up, do your session, and do everything in reverse and bring it all back home. And they're just going to do stuff in their house where they don't have to move it. Invite their friends over, invite their cousins or their mom and dad, everybody over for a sound session because all their stuff is there. So look at your commitment level if you're in it for the long haul. Again, I go back to the whole yoga situation. There used to be 20 million yoga teachers out there, all trying to get gigs at yoga studios, and there weren't enough gigs. It thinned out. COVID helped, but still it thinned out, and the people who were in it for the long haul are still here, and they're still teaching yoga. Some of them have their own studios, some of them are working at other studios or maybe 3 studios, but they're still here because they're in it for the long haul. So it's the same thing with sound work. Yeah, the market has gotten saturated, but I think we're on the cusp of the great fallout. By that, I mean just a great fallout where a lot of people are gonna be dropping out, again, because they're not committed or they find out it's more than what they thought it was to do, and you're gonna drop out. So if you're in it for the long haul, a year or 2 from now, you'll still be here and they'll be long gone. Another aspect is diversify. Through my whole career, I've been a performing musician, but I've done other things. I've worked in music stores for many years. I've taught drum and percussion lessons for many years. I've written for music magazines, uh, music websites. I've written music books. That's part of what I've done. And all of those, I got paid for doing all that. So that all came into a total income. I wasn't relying on one thing or the other. It was an aggregate of things. Even today, yes, I play sessions, but I also make videos like this, right? I write books. I write blog articles and magazine articles when I can. I teach. I teach both online and in person. I teach workshops around the US. I go to Europe, teach workshops. So I've diversified, I'm still doing a lot of different things. Partly because I like doing all these different things. If all I did was play sound sessions and I did 200 sessions a year, I would get bored. Honestly, I would, because I like these other things. I love making videos, as you can tell from the hundreds and hundreds of videos on YouTube and the growing 150 or so videos on Patreon. I like doing this. I like the whole technical aspect. I like the filming part. I like framing the shots. I like the editing part and putting together the final video. I like the whole thing. It's of great interest to me. I love writing. I love writing books. I've got, what have I published? Like 15 books, I think. And my new one's being edited, and I've got another one that's already that I have to put out. And I've got a couple other books in the idea stage. Hey, I love writing. I've been a writer since I was like a kid. So maybe diversify and be in it for the long haul. Those two things can help you get through any sort of market saturation that might be in your area. So to recap, work at your craft. Work at your craft. Let me say it one more time. Work at your craft every day if possible, even if it's just 10 minutes a day. I mean, I'm making these videos and it takes a lot of time. So I'm not always in my studio playing for hours. Sometimes I'm playing 15 minutes because that's all the time I have with the other things I've got going on. And now it's becoming summer here, planting flowers in the garden, hanging out with my wife, doing things, plus making videos, writing books, doing sessions, and working at my craft. But I do work at my craft some every day. Make sure your talent is undeniable, that you rise above everybody else. Learn all you can. Attend workshops. Uh, Take some classes if you can find some with people or private lessons. Read about all the things related to sound, philosophies, spiritual things. You know, learn all that you can so that you can make sure your talent is undeniable. Okay. And be in it for the long haul. If you're just in it casually, you're not going to last. But if you're really into it, you got to be in it for the long haul and you will survive all of this. Yeah. The great fallout's coming, just like in yoga, just like in other things. So thanks for coming to today's Cuppa Talks. Go practice now. Go to your sound space. Work a little bit on what you do. Okay. See you next time.